Hey, how's it going, guys? Mush back at it with another video. In today's video, I want to talk about Spine, a brand new PlayStation 4 emulator that is making a ton of progress. I want to go over some of the comments the developer made, specifically to celebrate the anniversary of the first public reveal of the emulator. They've prepared another video showcasing games going in-game running on the emulator, which is pretty incredible. Now, don't get it twisted. You're not going to be playing God of War. You're not going to be playing any of the exclusives anytime soon on this emulator. However, as we've seen with other emulators, namely RPCSX3, Yuzu, once these emulators get going, they make progress at a rapid pace. No, I'm not saying it's going to be ready in 6 months or a year, but 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, that's really not a long time in the grand scheme of things to be running an emulator of something like the PlayStation 4. I could see it making incredible amounts of progress in that time frame given what we've seen with other emulators. But DSOG Gaming does have an article noting, according to its creator, there are 20 to 50 games that can go in-game with this emulator. Now, obviously, these games have a lot of artifacts and glitches, so don't be expecting to play games at a very, very nice pace or, just playable. Don't be expecting to play God of War or anything like that. Not only that, but most of them are indie games, so don't be expecting to play Marvel Spider-Man on your PC anytime soon. Still, it's really fascinating witnessing these baby steps for the PlayStation 4 emulator. I would say these are a little bit more than baby steps. I would say these are significant steps being made for an emulator. If you've actually covered the progress of emulators and how they usually go in terms of development, I would say that this is a significant step forward, and we're getting a significant update for this emulator right now. It should be noted that currently the emulator is only available for Linux, and you can download a demo version of it. However, you're not going to find it that useful because, again, you're not going to be playing games at an incredible pace. Also, over on Reddit r/emulation, the developer of Spine noted a few things, noting to celebrate the anniversary of the first public reveal, I prepared another video showcasing the current state of Spine. No titles, so for additional entertainment, you can test knowledge of PS4 games. I think there are 20 in total if I counted correctly. No titles being that in the video, there are no titles of the games. A lot of the games are lower key titles, again, indie games that a lot of you guys are probably not aware of, but they are going in game. And the fact that even these smaller games are going in game, that is a significant step forward for the emulator. He also made another response to somebody asking, how's the ongoing development? Can you give us some sneak peek? Because he's been relatively quiet. He or she, I should be fair there. He or she has been relatively quiet about the development of this emulator. However, they've actually been working on it every day, noting, I keep working on it every day. The video shows the best parts of the games I've tested. Apart from the 20 shown here, about 30 others go in-game, though usually with worse effects than shown here. 150 are at the intro level, meaning they try to draw something, and around 80 don't, so roughly 20%, 50%, 30%, though it's a bit biased as I tend to test simpler games. Obviously, when you're testing simpler games, they are going to be considerably more easy to run than your gravitases of the God of Wars and Spider-Mans and Horizon Zero Dawns of the world, although Horizon Zero Dawn coming natively to PC this summer, so maybe that's not even a game I should mention nonetheless. And as far as an official release of this version onto GitHub, he noted that, I guess to respect Sony, I won't be releasing a full version before the PlayStation 5 premiere. I might do another demo release, but I wanted to have a bigger playable 3D game, and I'm not entirely there yet, but the fact he says I'm not entirely there yet makes me think that maybe he's a little bit closer than we think. Whatever the case may be, that's just speculation on my part, but he's obviously putting work into it every day, so a lot of considerable progress is being made. Also noted, didn't have time to do both, but I've tested Wipeout. It works surprisingly well for a game I've never tried to run before. In my classification, it would be in-game, though it looks very bad as it seems to be using complex shaders, and a lot of them couldn't be converted. So don't be expecting an official release of this version of the emulator anytime soon, given we don't really know when the PlayStation 5 is going to premiere given everything going on right now, but maybe, hopefully in the next few months, we can hear more about it and we can see some more progress being made towards Spine. But also keep in mind that this emulator is going to remain Linux only for the time being. He even noted, still Linux only. I spent some time to make a limited version run on Mac OS, but that's due to the limitations of my development environment. So while I wouldn't say the terminology of them making baby steps is necessarily correct, it is very indicative that this emulator is still very early on, and if you want something more substantial as a PlayStation 4 emulator, that's not going to come for quite a while. However, I always like to cover the progress of emulators. I was covering RPCSX3 for a long time, and you look at a video where I talked about it initially and where you see the PS3 emulator now, man, it's night and day, and the PS3 emulator is legitimately running games really good. I know people that can play Persona 5 very well on the PlayStation 3 emulator, and everybody's kicking and screaming for a Persona 5 native release on PC, and I am too. I would love to see Persona 5 on PC. I would love to see Persona 5 Royal, more notably now. But you have these emulators also running these games very, very well. Maybe it should be a push for developers to be like, hey, if these games are available on emulators, if people can play them on emulators, why don't we just release them natively on PC so people can buy them? And hey, if that is a side effect of emulators, and that just means PlayStation 4 exclusives come to PC more regularly, which I just think is going to happen irregardless of this PlayStation 4 emulator. I don't even think irregardless is a word, but I've always heard people say it, so I've kind of added that to my vocabulary. Regardless of the PS4 emulator, I still think PS4 exclusives are ultimately gonna come to PC. I've seen this trend of where publishers and developers are like, oh, well, we're releasing this one game, but we'll see how things play out in the future. Now, I know how this stuff works. You're gonna bring a lot more games into the future because Horizon Zero Dawn is gonna sell really well on PC, and then that's gonna open the floodgates for everything else to come at some point as well. But let me know your thoughts on the PlayStation 4 emulator. Obviously, it's not something that is usable at this point, but I do think it's something that's going to be very interesting to follow along. I'll leave a link to DSOG Gaming's article in the description box below, DSO Gaming that is, and I will leave an article to the Reddit thread in the description box below if you want to hear some comments from the developer, him or herself. They go pretty in-depth on it, but don't be expecting any significant more updates until the premiere of the PlayStation 5, and then hopefully we do get a public release. Although it being Linux-based right now, that is going to be a bummer to some people, although you can always find a way to get a Linux running machine. It's not that difficult. So sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Really interested to hear what you guys think. Always going to be a little bit of a murky area when you talk about emulators like a PlayStation 4 emulator, a Switch emulator that can run games that are still being sold. If it gets to that point, obviously the PS4 emulator is nowhere near that point, but we saw what happened with games like Persona 5, and we saw what happened with things like Red Dead Redemption. It's really unfortunate how developers go after that, because at the end of the day, I don't think that's affecting their bottom line at all, and if they still released a Persona 5 or Red Dead Redemption on PC, it would still sell incredibly well. How I would even argue that a release on an emulator could enhance the sales of a game on PC if it gets a native release. I know that sounds strange in theory, but I really do see stuff like that happening pretty regularly. I'm not going to go in depth on that topic, but nonetheless, let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you guys have a request for another video, you can leave that in the comments, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.